Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the first Live with New Student Orientation event. We're so glad to have you joining us today. My name is Anna Beta. I'm the Executive Director of Transition Support and Career Development here at Kennesaw State University, and it's my real pleasure to welcome you today. This is, like I mentioned, the first in a series, and so if you're an incoming student or an incoming parent, our plan for you is to have sort of an immersive experience all throughout the summer and not just on your orientation day. We know it can be a lot of information coming at you at once in those mornings. Certainly it could seem overwhelming, but we know that you need a lot of information to be set up for success. And so we're having this series to let you dive a little bit deeper with our campus partners. And so we hope we've gotten a wide array of themed topics scheduled throughout the summer. If you check our website, orientation.kennesaw.edu, you'll be able to see the full listing. It's also on all of our socials. So we hope you'll be planning to join us each week throughout the summer. Today's Live with New Student Orientation is featuring the Department of Career Planning and Development, as well as a representative from our academic advising community here on campus. We understand that as you're starting out as a new student, it's going to be important for you to choose the right classes, the right major, and how that links in with a career is really important. Here at Kennesaw State, we really think about these two areas as married in terms of how you're thinking about your time here at Kennesaw State University and planning out the courses you'll take. So let me allow my colleagues and friends to introduce themselves, and then we'll get started. So let's start with Amanda.
Great, thank you, Anna. So my name is Amanda Long. I'm the Director of Employer Relations and Career Outreach for the Department of Career Planning and Development. So I work closely with our employer relations team to make sure we bring a lot of diverse and great employers on campus, and to make sure that you all as students know about that. So we do everything to help students along their career pathway, from that early exploration piece to kind of figuring out what you want to major in and how that might link to career options, all the way up to when you get close to graduation and you're looking for that first great ideal job. So, and everything in between, of course. So that's a little bit about what we do.
Awesome. And Gerald.
Hello, Owl Nation. I'm Gerald Morris. I'm the Interim Executive Director for University Advising, a very long title. But I get the privilege of working with our advising centers across the campus. And our main jobs are to help you get the courses you need, help you to connect with campus partners, provide any type of resources, acquaint you with procedures, policies, to really help you excel and be the best you can. We have 12 advising centers across our two campuses. Every college has its own unique advising center, and they're all structured differently, but they're all geared toward helping you be successful. Some are set up by alpha, which would be by your last name, others are by your major. But again, the whole purpose of all of them is to help you succeed. And that's what we do.
That's really great. And I think one of the things that's important to note, and you're choosing to come to Kennesaw State University, and we're so glad and grateful and excited to serve you. I think our academic advising area is really specialized. We're going to get you the advising that you need, and career is like that too, right, Amanda?
It is.
Yep. Talk to us a little bit about that.
It is. So in career planning and development, we have career and internship advisors assigned to every college on both the Kennesaw and Marietta campuses. So what that means is you have an advisor that you can meet with who really specializes in knowing how you can use your major for different career options. That advisor also talks closely with employers who work with those majors, so they know a lot about what those employers are looking for on your resume, what types of interview questions they'll be asking. We really try to make sure that you get a specialized experience, so it's not just generic, one size fits all for everyone. We understand that different employers in different industries will be looking for different things. So we try to tailor your experience with our department that way and make sure that you get the most specialized, the most tailored career advice that you possibly can.
That's great. Sometimes I think universities can be confusing to the external world, and it's hard to know the difference between why you would need to contact one office versus the other. To an outside person, it may seem like, shouldn't I just be able to email Kennesaw State University and get the answer that I need? And so I'd love to talk a little bit about the difference between why you would talk to a career advisor versus an academic advisor, so our incoming students know who they need to talk to for which information.
Great. So I'll kind of start with that.
Sure.
So for career advising, it really is all the kind of tactical things you would need for a job search. So we help students review resumes, cover letters, graduate school applications, personal statements, as well as prepare for networking events and job interviews. So it's all those kind of logistical things you need as part of your job search. And we do work with students on how they can apply their major to their job search, but because we're not academic advisors, we don't know a lot about what classes you might need to take and in what sequence and whether this credit could apply there. So we really specialize in mostly the career piece of making sure that everything that you do with us is really tailored to how employers would be looking at you from the outside and what they would expect to see.
Great. And Gerald, what about you?
And on the academic advising side, again, we get you as soon as you walk in the door for us help you select your major. And if for some reason you don't really know what major you want, we actually have a group that actually works with that. And they'll help you explore different options for what your major is going to be. All the other advising centers, they're all specialized. If you're an engineer, we have a group of advisors on our Marietta campus that'll work with you. If you're I want to be a biologist, we have someone in our math and science. And these groups, these advising centers, they're actually various sizes. There can be 10 people, there can be 4 people, but they're all specialized at the goal of helping you to decide what you want to do and put you on the path. Other things they do, which is I find to be critical when dealing with students, is college is new. It's different. You don't know what to expect half the time. I think we all did it. And so someone really needs to help you decide what's the best way to address this issue. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure who I go to see. And that's the other place that academic advising helps. It's easy for us to help you get classes, assuming the classes are there. But all the other things that go around college life is where an advisor can help. If you need to find out about the bursar's office, we know the folks there, then we can make the connection there. Ultimately, when you go through all of our programs, and a large number of our programs require some form of internship, some term of trying to get job experience, then we connect you with our career services group. And I think we said before, they're embedded right in the colleges, so we get a chance to spend time and know them. And for you, my resume, I don't know how great it is. Guess what? That's not what I do. Mine may not be that great either. Let me send you to Amanda's group. So that's kind of what our role is, to really, as you come in, to help you get adjusted to college life, help you choose the major if you don't know what it is, and then help you progress all the way through graduation. And then we turn you over a little bit more. You'll meet them early in there, but at that point, we turn you over to other departments.
Right.
Amanda's group being one.
Right, and Gerald made a really good point. A lot of our embedded career and internship advisors are literally right down the hall from your academic advisors, which makes it very convenient. So when you do get referred from one place to another, it's not necessarily a, hey, you need to go way across campus to this other building way out of the way. Usually it's, oh, that person is 3 doors down. So usually it works very well that way and having us kind of work side by side.
Pretty cool.
Those are all great points. I think Gerald brought up something about like what to expect, I think, a little bit in what he was sharing. And I think sometimes for incoming students, or if we're new in any context, we're not always sure what to expect. So I wonder if you all could share a little bit about what to expect in an appointment with the advisor. These students are going to be making their appointments ahead of orientation, perhaps with advisors, and then academic advisors, and then shortly thereafter with career advisors. What can they expect? What should they prepare, if anything?
I'll jump in first on this one.
Go for it.
Great.
Okay, my first thing is sign up for orientation.
Agreed.
Please.
You get so much information there, and that's the starting point. And prior to orientation, you can set an appointment with an advisor for your specific college. It's easy to find out who your advisors are, and I'm using advisors in general because you may be assigned a specific one, or you may be assigned to the entire group. But you would go into your Owl Express account. The other thing too is definitely set up your Owl Express account, your password, do all of those things because you'll need those in order to set an appointment. We actually put appointments in the hands of the students. You go into a system, you choose a time that works appropriate for you, a day, and then you set an appointment. How do you do that? You go into your Owl Express account, and under Student Services, there's a tab that's called EAB Campus Advising. You can click that and it takes you into the appointment system. The other side of that is you can just type in appointments.kennesaw.edu and you'll get the same appointment system. What do you need to do for an appointment? Come, pretty much.
Show up.
Show up. We have people who don't, but if you don't come, we can't help you. And advisors wants you to know they're there to help. They're really not there to be an authoritative figure. They're there to build a relationship and truly work with you. Think about what it is you want to do. And again, if you don't know what you want to do, just be honest and tell the advisor, you know what, I'm going down this path, I'm not sure. They can ask the right questions. If it's not in WellStar, you might need to be over in math and science. You might need to go to our advising, OWL advising for our undeclared exploratory students. Those are the ones who are really not sure. But just being honest and open, talk to the advisor. If there are any issues, I'm not sure, that's what we want to help. There's a lot of referrals we can do for us. There's a test that you can do to help you decide what is it you're good at. What is it I really am interested in? Some of them are actually done by our counseling services, and some of them are actually done by our career services. So I'll turn it over to you at this point.
That's great. Thank you, Gerald. So yeah, that's a great segue. So our appointments are really based on your needs. So when you create an appointment with us, it can be for anything that you need, whether it's, I need help finding a job on campus, or I want to learn how to apply for internships, or it could be simple as, I've never written a resume before, I need to learn how to do that. It's really based on what your needs are. But if you are one of the students who isn't really sure where to get started, that's perfectly okay too. One of the things we can help students with is just creating a career plan or sort of an outline. So even if you have a goal in mind of, I think I might want to go to med school upon graduating from KSU, or I want a job in this industry, even if you have that big goal in mind, we can help you break it down into reasonable steps. So you can kind of figure out, okay, this is what we'll accomplish your freshman year, then this is what we'll work on your sophomore year, and we'll go from there. So it can really be based on what your immediate needs are. And if you aren't really sure what the first step is, that's okay. We'll start from square one. We'll help you build a career plan.
That's an excellent point. And I think just to piggyback on that, putting on my career hat briefly, I think it's important for incoming students coming in to not limit themselves. I don't think majors always have to be prescriptive. Like, I think you can get to any number of careers with a bunch of majors. And I think it's important to think about it that way, which is why I think these two areas overlap so beautifully. If you want to go to medical school and you want to be a music major, there's a way to do that. If you want to work in business and be a theater major, that works too. It's all about, in these meetings with career planning and development's set of advisors, talking about how to use transferable skills. So don't eliminate options on your way in. Be in conversation with both of these areas, I think.
I'm sorry to
Please,
cut you off.
piggyback.
One of the things, when I was the director of WellStar College, and I got some of the tools, and I actually still have them, that I got from career services. That's the old title. And I'm amazed at people that wanted to be in WellStar College, which is our health sciences. I didn't even have an idea of how many jobs there were. We think of OT, PT, those are the main ones the students come, but there's a list that they produce and still have that literally lists, I don't know how many jobs underneath those, and that gave us additional resources. We would never get into what your job should be, but we can actually provide that list and say, hey, go visit our partners at Career Services. And I use that to no end, because once I found it, I'm going, this is a huge resource that I didn't know about, but now I know about it and I can share it with students.
Right. How
So
fun
that's
to think
pretty
you
cool.
could be a sports psychologist.
I couldn't be, but someone could be. Maybe that's a good segue. Amanda, maybe you could talk a little bit about some of the resources that sit in between or are used by both groups, like assessments, but like the My Majors Now What, and even Handshake and how that interacts with.
Right. So Gerald did a great job in mentioning that we do have some really great career assessments that students can take. So if you are one of those students and you're not quite sure what you want to major in or what types of careers are going to be a good fit for you, we actually have, I think, 4 different career assessments that are linked through the careers.kennesaw.edu website. So if you click on students and then you look over under resources, that's where you can find those. And all you really have to do as a student is just take it. And then if you bring us the results, we can help you interpret it and help you figure out how those results align with different majors. That's one of the great resources we have. Another one of our favorites is this one called What Can I Do With This Major? Probably the most aptly named resource there is, because it literally tells you just that. So it's got a whole database full of all these different majors that you can pick from. And then for each major, it's got defined career pathways. So this is the type of career you could have with this major. And then even underneath that, it has these are the types of employers who would hire you in that career pathway. These are the strategies you need to do as a student to prepare prepare for a career in that pathway. So it's a very kind of concrete and very kind of plan-oriented tool that we use with our students all the time. And sometimes that's a great way we can help you figure out, okay, what are those first steps your first year? It talks a lot about the different types of student groups that you could get involved with, and just some kind of things you can do very early on. So those are some of the great resources that we have.
That's great,
Really
thank you.
cool.
I want to check in with my friend Brandon. Do we have any questions that need to be addressed yet? Not yet, and that's great.
That's great.
All right, so we're going to keep on moving through my list. So I guess talk to me a little bit about, maybe Amanda to start, but then it also impacts Gerald and his areas. Talk to me about the role of internships and co-ops in helping to ascertain what a student wants to do.
Absolutely. So I think a lot of students are aware that by the time you graduate from college, a lot of employers are still going to expect you to have some type of work experience. And a lot of students think, well, how am I going to get that if I've just been a full-time student for the past 4 to 5 years? That's where internships and co-ops come in handy. So with our internship and co-op program, you can get relevant work experience while you're still completing your degree program, while you're still taking courses. So our career and internship advisors help students find internships and co-ops that fit with their major and that help them meet their career goals. And one of the great things about Kennesaw State is many of our majors have internship and co-ops that you can do for academic credit.
Yep.
And that's really where Gerald's area comes in.
Yep. And that's a big one for us, and especially in the health sciences and in some of the others. And that's when we work with them when it comes to those. We don't do the actual internship work, but we take them through the process of, you'll have to do an internship, it's going to be X number of hours. Sometimes
Right.
the credits may vary depending on the internship, the length of the internship. So once we take them through from the academic side of it, that's when we ultimately said, okay, we've gotten you here, now you need to go see our partners.
Right.
Because again, we don't know anything about that. But the academic side is where they get a chance to experience it. Some of the programs actually have it up as an option.
Right.
And one of the things that the advisors do and we try to do is encourage them to, if you've got free elective, if you've got other types of major electives where you can use them, and a good number of them do, this is where you can get that experience. So we'll encourage them, rather than just taking a free elective course or taking a course that's, let's say, history related because you're a history major, do an internship. You may end up at a place that, I always say every internship, the way I look at it, is a possibility of a future job.
Right.
And I always tell them to be the best at it when you're there. But yeah, that's how our connection is, that we encourage them to use their major electives, their free electives, to do an internship. That way you walk out of Kennesaw with not just a great degree. I also can, I've had my resume built, and I can actually add those to the resume. So that's pretty cool.
Right. So we help students actually apply for the internship and co-op positions. And I think last statistics I saw were that about 7 out of 10 internships and co-ops do end up converting to full-time positions with the company. So that's a great thing to keep in mind as well. You could do an internship your junior or senior year and then land a full-time job for when you graduate.
Yeah, and Kennesaw State University puts a real high priority on internships and co-ops in particular, or other ways for students to be experiencing their learning with hands-on exposure. And so, I'll just say anecdotally, I think internships and co-ops are probably one of the most important things you can do while you're here, or job shadowing, that's another program. Because I think sometimes we think we know what a job will be like, and then when we try it out, it may not be as great as we thought it would be, or it may not fulfill some of the things like we thought we'd get to do in a job. And so I think Gerald's absolutely right, trying it out so that you can get more of a network, and then Amanda, you can get a job offer, but you can also figure out that's maybe not for me, whatever that.
That's the same thing that happens with students when they come in with, they pick a major.
Right.
And all of a sudden you start going down that path and realize, oh, this really isn't what I want to do, or I don't have any passion for it, or whatever the reason is, you switch it up and go to another major. And it's the same thing, as far as an internship will give you that ability to say, no, I really don't care for this. I thought it was so different. And it's amazing when you talk to students, it is 100% different usually, unless they've actually gone out and done some volunteer work. You would think everyone would know what nursing is, and they do to a degree.
Sure.
But once you start talking to them about nursing and what it is and the time you've got to put in, it may not be the most attractive job. The standing on your feet for 10 hours, you know, as opposed to looking at TV and you see the doctors and nurses and have what a great life, and it's pretty much an 8 to 5, not realistic, but internships will give you the ability to experience that.
So true.
And that's why, for nursing, exercise science, the ones that I'm more familiar with, they all have internships built in
Exactly.
so that you get that experience. And that way you can make those educated choices.
Right.
Yeah, I did this internship. It's really not what I thought it was going to be. And then you redirect and go on and find something that you really want to do. And the key word for me is always passion.
Yeah.
Right.
If you're passionate about something, you will do well in it.
Right.
So true.
And the good news is if you are finding yourself in that position of not liking what you thought you would like and needing to redirect, you have plenty of people to support you in both of our areas.
Yep.
So we'll make sure that we help find the right fit or the right path for you.
Yeah, and that brings up a good point. So maybe Gerald, you can talk a little bit about what it is to declare a major or switch majors. Just talk through all of that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, when you come in, we know you put most of the time you put a major on your application. I want to be a biology major, which means there's certain courses that you have to take if you want to get a biology degree. I'm not even going to say what the job is, but a biology degree. And sometimes you find out that really isn't what I want to be. I'm a living example of that. I changed my major, I think, twice.
Me too.
And it's very common. I mean, we'd love for you not to do that and go through and be finished in 4 years, but the reality of it is we're 17, 18, 19 years old, asked to make huge decisions, and we're just trying to justify my dorm. Plain and simple. So there's a lot of pressure. But so we sometimes don't, it's not that we don't make the right choice, but we really start experiencing college life. And then we realize that's really not the direction I want to go. So then you have to go in and change your major. And you have the ability to go in and do it yourself by going online and doing it. But I always say you really should meet with an advisor. He or she can look at what you've taken, what courses may be applicable, which ones may not. You may have some things in your AP that not counted for much now, but that might be a big deal for you that, shortens the amount of time when you switch your major. So an advisor can actually walk you through the process. They can go into our system in DegreeWorks and simulate, if I move from nursing to biology, what would my schedule now look like? How many credits will I now have to take additionally, or maybe I don't have to, depending on what you've taken. And the system will actually align those courses up as if you had made that change before you even do it.
Yeah.
And that way you get a chance right there and help you, again, like I said it earlier, help you make a more educated decision as, wow, if I change major now, I'm only going to lose 1 or 2 classes. As opposed to not doing it, go to a different major where, oh, I'm now back. I've got 5 classes I've got to make up. But working with an advisor, they can run, we call it a what-if scenario. And you don't physically change it, but the system, they put it in while they're sitting right there with you and give an idea of what this new major could look like. My thing is, don't do it on your own. Make an appointment, go sit and meet with an advisor, and they can actually run those type of scenarios for you. It doesn't matter if doesn't have to be 1. I might have 2 things I might be interested in. It only takes a couple of minutes to go in and it'll repopulate itself. And then it'll help you make a better choice. And again, the decision is always, always going to be yours. One thing about advising, we take you to the path, we show you what you need to do, but we cannot and will not make you do anything. It has to be your own conscious choices. If you make a bad decision, come back, we'll rework it again and see what works best for you. So that's how we actually would do something like that when it comes to major changes. Adding minors is the same thing. Sometimes, gee, I'm waiting to be accepted to the nursing program. I still got a lot of credits I can take. We do know that the nursing profession, they love the idea that you have courses in psychology.
Yeah.
An advisor can help you sign up to do a minor in psychology that fits into your program, that also makes you more attractive when you go into nursing. If you want to work for Wellstar, Piedmont, any of those places, that you actually have some of the additional credentials that they might be looking for that probably makes you better than the next candidate.
For sure.
As long as the resume and everything else is done correctly.
As long as it's presented
We have
well
to
on
keep going back to
Bingo.
that.
As long as you present it well on paper.
Yes.
No, that's a
awesome.
great point. And I think firsthand, I think our advisors on campus are spectacular. And so using them often and at any point when you're feeling confused about what your next step would be is well advised.
Right. I would say, just one more, even
Yeah,
if it's not 100% academic, they're that voice, that ear to hear and direct you to the resources.
Right.
Whether it's a counseling issue, and everybody, when we say counseling, we're not talking about it's a bad thing. Counseling has a lot of different things, and hopefully they'll be coming in at some point in time.
Yeah.
But if you need to go there for testing, maybe different or the same testing that you would get at career services, advising will help you do that.
Yeah.
So it's really not just the person you go to because I need a class.
Right.
And one of the things that I actually have, I made some notes on here, and I'll cover that, is a lot of times students don't know what their rights and responsibilities are. You're a college student, you're here, the moment you're here, you are considered an individual, you make your choices. We are limited on how much we can tell your parents when it comes to things like that because of federal laws. But you need someone sometimes to talk things through. And an advisor, we're not a counselor, so I'm not advocating that we are by any stretch. But sometimes you just need to bounce things off of someone. I'm thinking this way about my academics, or I want to take this course. You know, with our knowledge of the various courses and programs, we could sit there and go, you know what, that's probably not the best sequence for you because that's a heavy, intense course, but you've already got 3 other. Maybe you need to take this course that's maybe not so intense. Not that it's not academically rigorous, it's just not as intense as the other. So sometimes you need someone to help you make those choices when it comes to that. And like I said, that's the academic part, but also just almost phone a friend, if I can use that
Right.
expression.
Yeah.
Someone I need to talk to, and they'll send you in the right direction.
Yeah.
So it might be go home and talk to mom and dad also. if you need to do
If
that,
needed.
they will tell you that too.
That's a really great point that you make. I think that is a differentiator here at Kennesaw State. Kennesaw State is huge. You know, there are 38,000 plus students, and yet I think we make it feel small. Like I think we all know one another, and we're good at referring around campus and know all the services that are available. So any help that you need, advisors of all types, I think, are the kind of people who are ready to help you get to what it is that you need. So I think that's a really great point. Maybe let's talk a little bit about how to get started with these different services. Like, imagine it's the first day of classes. We get through this orientation season. What should a student do first in both of your spaces?
Great. So I think for career advising, one of the things that you can do to go ahead and get started is as soon as you complete orientation, you'll be given access to our all-in-one career management system called Handshake. You'll hear us refer to Handshake quite a lot. And Handshake can be a great tool just to explore what's out there. So if you have a declared major, you can go on Handshake and say, well, I want to see what types of internships I could get with this major, or what types of part-time or full-time job opportunities are out there. But Handshake is also your resource for on-campus jobs, and I know a lot of incoming students will be interested in applying for on-campus jobs. So that's where you'll go to apply for those jobs and to see who on the different campus spaces will be hiring for student assistant positions. So that's kind of the first thing I would recommend. Go ahead and start exploring Handshake. We will refer you to Handshake at every step of the way in your journey here at KSU. So that's where you'll find all of our career events, all of the information about our job and internship fairs. That's also where you can schedule appointments to meet with a career advisor. So that would be my recommendation. Once you kind of get here in the fall, once you get settled a little bit, go ahead and log on Handshake, take a look at all the resources there, and let us know if we can help guide you through any of them.
Excellent. Thanks, Amanda.
And
What
as-
about you, Gerald?
And as Anna said, after the orientation is over, that day is also where you actually register for courses.
Right.
And the advisors are there to assist you to do that. That's probably the number one thing that people want to do is get through everything and register. I would say use their knowledge for the amount of time that you're with them. Come in, if you already have a plan, you have the courses laid out, that's fine, that's great. But if they say, you know what, that's a great schedule, you might want to think about this. Oh, you didn't build in enough time to get between courses. That course is in the Clendenin building, you're all the way at the West Deck, which is pretty much the opposite ends of the campus. Advisors can kind of take a look at things like that and point out those things for you. So that's one of the first things. After that is you're going to be notified when you need to see advising. But I say, why wait till you're notified? for me, the first thing is to build a relationship with your advisor. Advisors will be, like I said, depending on each center, some will be assigned, that's your advisor. Bob, you will see Bill for as long as you both are here at the campus, and that person will stay with you. Sometimes on others, like for example, Wellstar, there's a group of about, I think there were 8 advisors there, and the student can actually self-select an advisor. I always encourage them when I managed it to have an appointment with several of the advisors, see what works best for you.
Yeah.
And by doing that also, if I'm your advisor, but I happen to be on vacation for a week or two, you've got other advisors there that you can see. And one thing good about one of the systems we use allow us to put notes in it. So we've actually documented all of our meetings. Any advisor can see them. So it's not as if you have to start from scratch and explain everything to the advisor. They go in, their job is to go in, read through all the appointments that you've had, the things you've discussed, some of your concerns if they are there, what classes you've taken. So when you come in, they're actually prepared to start talking with you about what it is. They want an update if something has changed. If there was an issue, something that you were dealing with, they want to find out, has that been resolved? It has? Okay, now let's go forward with this. So building a relationship for me is probably, I said it's number 2, but it's probably the number 1 thing when it comes to advising. Find an advisor that you're comfortable with, realize that they're human, they can make a mistake, but their job is to not come in and bring the rest of the world into their office. It's your time and their time, and that's what they're there for. And they can help you do so many things if you're just willing to open up, talk to them. Parents, if they decide they want to come in, if they've signed the appropriate forms, they can come in also, and we will not prohibit that. But one of the things, which I think it's kind of a myth that, and it just kind of struck me as I was preparing for this, advisors can do a lot, but there are things that we cannot do. And I remember getting this all the time. Hey, I didn't get the math course I want. It's at 10 o'clock. Can you just put me in that class? And an advisor, we can't do that. Like I said, we will do everything to try to help you find something that fits your schedule. Right. But we can't just open up the system and put you in a course. If we had the ability, we probably would, right, which is not a good thing.
It's a caring bunch.
Right.
I don't think I would ever turn a student down. But there would be 50 students in a class that seats 20 because Gerald opened up a class and put students in there. So just keep those things in mind when you work. Our job, we don't want to say no. And sometimes we have to, but hopefully we're actually giving you alternatives and options. So it's not just a no. So those are some of the things that I think starting, we covered how to go in and set an appointment and things like that. But yeah, for me, relationship for me is everything. I love the idea of when I started with, and there were names that I could rattle that I met with them when they first came to Kennesaw. They were a transfer student or they were a freshman. 4.5, 5, 6 years later, I'm actually sitting at their graduation because we've built that relationship. They have confidence that I'm going to do the right thing for them, that if I tell them that I have to say no to this, they know it's not Gerald saying no. It's a policy, it's a procedure, it has to do with another department. But ideally, I'm going to try to get you the best that I absolutely can. And I believe that's what every advisor wants. Those are the type of advisors that we at Kennesaw want to hire.
Right.
We honestly and truly really don't want someone that just want to give you 5 classes and see you next time.
Right.
No, we want relationships so that you experience and you become part of the owl nest. I mean, you really feel like you're part of the owl's nest. And that's kind of what, it sounds like I'm preaching. I'm really not. But it's really what I believe when it comes to advising. Our advisors, they have passion for what they're doing, and every single one wants to help. Now, they have a bad day, or you didn't think you got what you want, you absolutely have a right to ask to see the director. There's a director or a manager or some senior person in every center. You absolutely have a right. And that's again what I mentioned earlier, your students' right to go and talk to them, and that's happened to me too. Sometimes it's a misunderstanding. I've seen people that think I was did right. They said, "Who's your boss?" My boss is the dean. I will give you his contact number, which I did. But that's part of what you as a student have a right to do. And again, most everybody that I know of, all the way up the chain into the departments, they want to help.
Right.
Sure. Well, and we're trying to get 38,000 students into the right classes, which, as you might imagine, is just is just tricky, I'm sure. So the advisors, I know, work hard and probably underappreciated. So, but
I
that's
think
all.
they're appreciated.
Well,
They know I appreciate them at least. I think
Right.
everybody
Right.
pretty much does.
no, that's such a good point. I wonder. I bet we have some parents listening on. I'm curious if y'all have some advice for how parents can help support their students in your spaces.
Yeah, that's such a great question. I think parents for our area, career planning and development, it's just great to give a little nudge, maybe once a semester, to ask your student, have you visited the Career Center yet this semester? Have you thought about how you're making progress towards that internship you want to apply for next summer? One of the great things is we work very closely with parent and family programs. We post reminders in their system all the time about, hey, there's a job fair coming up, or hey, we just opened applications for our job shadow program. So we try to make sure that that information is out there so you all can see it as well. So sometimes just, a little gentle nudge here and there certainly doesn't hurt. And if you see resources or things that you think your students should know about, we want you to share those. But definitely, we offer, I think, 3 career fairs every fall and spring semester. So there's lots of opportunities for students. We just want to make sure they know about it and that they're prepared.
That's great. What about you, Jared?
On the advising side, parents, you are encouraged to attend an advising session if you'd like. No one's going to tell you no, you can't. Again, providing you've signed the appropriate, the student has signed the appropriate FERPA form, it's called. It's federal law that we have to abide by. Once you have that, we'd love for you to come in, be part of the session, hear what the advisors are telling your students, ask questions of the advisors. And that way you get an understanding of what's going on, how we do things, so does the student. The other thing I would say, and parents, please don't take this wrongly. This is college life. Even as a freshman, let them spread their wings a little bit. Always be behind them, of course, in case they might go off a little bit. But let them spread their wings a little bit so that they can actually kind of experience, make some decisions, knowing hopefully that there's an advising center there that'll help them hopefully get back on if they go off. But yeah, when the students spread their wings a bit, they experience college life for the first time, we know they can go off a little bit. But on the whole, they really can get back in line. But I'd say just let them spread their wings.
That's excellent advice. I think that's really great. We certainly consider parents our partners in success just here on the campus in general. And we do have such a great parent family programs office, which is your way of connecting in, but we also want you to remind your students about all those things that you're hearing for all the departments that are posted in that system. So certainly would appreciate that. I wonder if each of you could talk through maybe the common questions that are coming up, maybe 2 or 3 that you're hearing each, and we'll go from there.
Sure. So I think one of the most common questions that we get for our area is about on-campus jobs. That's what a lot of students, especially our incoming students, are thinking about is, okay, my student's going to be coming on campus in the fall. I really want them to find a job on campus, something that's more convenient, something that won't overwhelm them too much. And that is absolutely something that our department can help them with. As I mentioned earlier, all of the on-campus jobs are posted in Handshake, and we can even help students apply for them. So if they want us to look over their resume before they submit them, we'll be happy to do that. So just kind of remembering that we're here to support that effort, and we're here to connect the students with those on-campus jobs, I think is something that we get a lot of questions about.
Excellent. Gerald?
The number one question I get, because I also have monitored our email account, is who is my advisor? and that's a fair question. And we've actually on our website, we're still updating it and adding more information and trying to put more helpful hints and resources on it. But there's a place actually on the advising website, which is advising.kennesaw.edu, and there's a drop-down box that says, who is my advisor?
Mm-hmm.
There's also, we've actually had some new boxes that says freshman, transfer student, international student. And if you click in there, you will also get a chance to see who your advisor is. The same question is there. And once you hit that link, you go down, you choose, my degree is I'm going from mathematics. There will be someone there for math. You hit that link, it'll show you the director, their contact information, where in the how to make an appointment. And it'll also, some of them, if they have to have names of advisors, they'll actually list the name of your advisor. The ones that are by alpha, alpha split, meaning by last name. You would actually, if my last name is Jones, I would just go down and see Jones. Oh, Bob is my advisor. Those who are done by department, it'll just be the overall for that department. And we have those that are I'm a psychology major. It'll also list all the advisors for the psychology department. And I believe within that, it may be broken down by alpha. And each of the 12 centers are actually done slightly different. That's what in a way makes it somewhat unique and specialized. But that's the number one question is, who is my advisor? And then the next one after that is, how do I set an appointment?
Makes sense.
Those are pretty much the two. The two major, there's also a third or fourth one also, but the second one, it's the same place. You go on their website, it's at advising.kennesaw.edu, or you can go into appointments.kennesaw.edu. You can also go into askadvising.kennesaw.edu and get information on how to go in and set an appointment. Normally it's just a click box, and the system will open up. You will need your net ID and the password that you established. It's not any special password, you establish those. And then, like I said, you get the option of going in. My schedule's free on Thursday at 2 o'clock. Oh, my advisor's open that day. And you book the appointment right then and there. The advisor gets a notice, and you should also get a confirmation that this appointment is set. So it's really easy to do. And there's a lot of different ways of getting to the appointments.
Excellent. Yeah, we want to make appointments as simple as possible. And so I think it's pretty simple in career planning and development too. Yes?
It's very similar. So inside Handshake, students can actually request an appointment. It's the same thing. The career advisor gets an email that says the student wants to request an appointment with you at this time. When it's confirmed, you'll get an email that says your appointment is confirmed and here's how you'll join the appointment at the appropriate time.
That's perfect. I wonder if you could offer our listeners, just maybe as we're kind of getting near to the end, just some pieces of advice, words of wisdom as an entering student or parent from your areas.
Sure.
You want me to start? I will.
You can go ahead.
I saw you look over at
Gerald's
me.
ready.
I guess my one big piece of advice, and it's for your freshman, transfer student, non-traditional student. It's a little bit harder for non-traditional students because of their usually work schedule and other things. But get involved.
That's great.
Statistically, through all the research that I've ever read, through my various degrees in dealing with students, is that if you somehow or another get connected to whether we kid around earlier, we said an advisor or career service, but go to a football game, join one of the Greek societies, join the chess club. Those connections actually help you progress because you feel connected to the university. You feel that you know folks, and through this person, you get to know that person. And, oh, I didn't know you were going to the football game. Hey, let's go together. All of those type of connections help you excel and progress and ultimately achieve your goals. Statistically, like I said, I've read so many reports on it. That's what you have to do in advising, stay up on what's going on. But connections make all the difference in the world than just being kind of a lone person. And we know it's easy for me to sit here and say, do it. Well, it's not that easy because I'm going to say it, and nobody believes me. I'm basically an introvert. But most people tell me, no, you're not. Yeah, I am. I am the person sitting in the corner usually. But if you can kind of break out of that and just meet a friend. And a friend, like I said, it could be your roommate. It could be an advisor. It could be someone in any department. Someone that you actually, join the club with. It actually makes the college experience so much better. You're not alone. There are people here willing to help. And there are people that want to be your friend because guess what? They're experiencing the same things you are. The same frustrations, the same, I don't really know anything. I didn't know the Clendenin was all the way down there, so now I've got to run. Find a buddy that will run the Clendenin with you. I'm kidding with that, but it makes all the difference in the world, connecting with people. So that would be my biggest thing, connecting with folks.
Yeah, I would say for our area, career planning and development, the best piece of advice I can give is don't wait. I think a lot of students assume that they can wait till at least their junior or senior year before they interact with us, because that's really when they'll need to worry about career planning things. But the truth is the students who prepare early are the ones who get those great internships and co-ops and are the ones who are set by the time they graduate. So don't wait. There's lots of ways you as an incoming freshman can interact with us in a way that's meaningful. Anna alluded to our Job Shadow program several times, and that's a great way to just try something out. You can go on site or right now virtually on site with an employer for a full day and just get some insight into what work actually looks like on a day-to-day basis in that type of job. So there's lots of ways that you can start exploring with us really early. And one of the great things about career advisors is we don't put a cap on the number of times you can meet with us. So as Anna always says, meet with us early and often, and just make sure you're staying on top of, making those small steps towards that big career plan that you have. But really the key is to start that process early. And you can meet with us a lot of times your freshman year. You can meet with us at least once your freshman year. But the goal is at least interact with us in some capacity, whether it's coming to a career exploration event, going to a resume writing workshop, or participating in Job Shadow or showing up at a job fair. Just do something with us. That way you're not going to be that junior or senior student who suddenly gets in their field and realizes it's not a great fit.
Right.
So do something, just even one thing your first year to start exploring your career options, and we'll help you take it from there.
Tremendous advice from the both of you, and really grateful for all the information you've shared today. Is there anything else you'd like to add into the? No. I got all of your brain
We just all
contributions.
welcome
I think you did.
Awesome.
Welcome you to the nest.
it was
Welcome to
Wow.
KSU.
So grateful to everyone for joining today, parents and students. If you've joined us live, great. We've answered some questions for you. If you tune in later, feel free to contact any of our departments, either orientation.kennesaw.edu, careers.kennesaw.edu, or advising.kennesaw.edu. We'd be more than happy to help you. As we mentioned in the beginning, this is a series, so this is going to be happening every week. Please be watching the websites and also social media to make sure that you don't miss anything. We're highlighting different departments or different areas each week. But we thought it might be nice to start off with two of the areas that get a lot of questions, because I think as you're starting out on your path, you're trying to figure out, what do I do first? And part of it is registering for classes and making sure you're on the right path. So we certainly thank you for joining us today. And we'll look forward to seeing you next week. Should we close with Hootie Hoo Eyes?
Oh, owl eyes?
Feels right.
Let's do it. Let's do
Hootie
it.
Hoo! Thanks for
Hootie
joining
Hoo.
us today.
Welcome to the nest.